Imagine walking along the edge of a deep red lake in the middle of East Africa. The heat is stifling, the air smells of sulfur, and the ground is crusted with a jagged white salt. Then you see it, a bird, perfectly still, perched on a branch. But as you get closer, you realize it's not resting. It's solid stone. Every feather, every claw, even the look in its eyes is perfectly preserved, yet it's been turned into a mineral statue. Welcome to Lake Natron, Tanzania. This sounds like something out of a Greek myth, like the gaze of Medusa turned to liquid. But this is 100% real. For years, the internet has been haunted by the photos of Nick Brandt, showing animals that look like they were carved by a master sculptor. But how does nature do this? How can water, the source of all life, become a factory for stone statues? Honestly, when I first saw these images, I thought they were staged. I thought, there's no way nature is this cinematic. But the science behind it is even more shocking than the photos themselves. Today, we are breaking down the 24-hour transformation that turns a living being into a permanent monument. But why do so many animals die here? It's not just the heat or the salt. Lake Natron is a master of illusion. Because of its unique chemical composition, the surface of the lake becomes a mirror so perfect, and still that birds in mid-flight cannot tell where the sky ends and the water begins. They dive at high speeds, believing they are flying into empty space, only to collide with a wall of caustic water at 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Imagine the confusion in their final seconds of life. What looked like the infinite sky becomes, in a heartbeat, a chemical trap that starts melting their feathers before they can even try to surface. To understand the horror of Lake Natron, we have to look at its chemistry. Most lakes have a neutral pH, somewhere around 7. Lake Natron, however, has a pH as high as 10.5. To put that into perspective, that is nearly the same alkalinity as ammonia or industrial-strength bleach. For a human, this is terrifying. If you were to fall into this water, it wouldn't just feel wet, it would feel oily. This is because the water would begin a process called saponification, literally turning your body fats into soap. Your eyes would be the first to go. Your corneas would be burned in seconds, leaving you blind while you try to swim in a liquid as dense as motor oil. The lake doesn't just take your life, it erases your biological structure. But where does this toxicity come from? The lake sits right next to Old Oinyo Lengai, an active volcano. But this isn't a normal volcano. It's the only one on Earth that erupts natrocarbonatite lava. This rare lava is rich in sodium and potassium carbonates. When it rains, these chemicals wash down into the lake, creating a concentrated, caustic soup. It's like the Earth itself is telling us, you don't belong here. The real secret ingredient here is the natron, a mixture of sodium carbonate and baking soda. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's the exact substance the ancient Egyptians used to dry out their mummies. In natron, nature isn't just a killer, it's an embalmer. So, let's talk about the 24-hour myth. Does an animal hit the water and instantly turn to rock? Not exactly. It's actually more terrifying. The water is so salty and so alkaline that most animals that fall in die almost immediately from the chemical burns and the extreme temperature. Once the animal dies, the dehydration process begins instantly. The sodium carbonate acts like a sponge, pulling every single molecule of water out of the animal's tissues. Within the first 24 hours, the soft parts of the body, the eyes, the internal organs, begin to harden. Salt crystals start to grow within the skin and feathers. Now, let me stop right there and ask you something. If you were trekking through Tanzania and saw this blood-red water, would you have the guts to get close for a photo, or would your survival instinct kick in? Personally, I'm staying as far back as possible. Let me know in the comments what you'd do. Is your curiosity stronger than your fear? As the water level of the lake recedes during the dry season, these calcified corpses are left behind on the shore. They are light as air but hard as concrete. One detail people rarely talk about is how these walking mummies move. As seasonal currents and winds act on the lake, these stone bodies are washed ashore in poses that look incredibly lifelike. They are biological ghosts, preserved by the very minerals that killed them. But here is where the story takes a turn that absolutely bugs scientists' brains. NASA and other astrobiologists are obsessed with this place. They believe Lake Natron is the perfect laboratory to understand how life could exist on other planets, like Mars or the icy moons of Saturn. In the middle of this toxic wasteland, extreme bacteria called extremophiles don't just survive, they flourish. They are responsible for the lake's vibrant red color. It makes you wonder, is life in the universe only found in comfortable places, or are we ignoring the toxic zones where life has found a way to thrive? Even more amazing is the lesser flamingo. How can any creature choose to raise their young in a lake of bleach? Well, it's a brilliant survival strategy. The flamingos have evolved tough, leathery skin on their legs that resists the caustic water. Because the water is so deadly, no predators, no hyenas, no lions, no baboons can reach them. For these flamingos, Natron is the safest place on Earth because the danger itself is their shield. It's a lesson in perspective. What's poison to one is a sanctuary to another. Lake Natron is a delicate balance of volcanic fury and biological resilience. But this balance is under threat. There have been constant debates about building a soda ash factory at the lake, which could destroy the flamingos' only nesting site. This place reminds us that our planet still has corners that haven't been tamed, places that demand our respect and our distance. But what do you think? Should science keep pushing into these zones to study these mysteries, or should we just leave them alone and let the stone statues keep their secrets? I really want to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy exploring the extreme side of Earth, hit that subscribe button for Dead Zones. I'm just your guide on this journey, but you guys are the ones who make this channel possible. I'll see you in the next Dead Zone.